Look, Kyle, we just kind of don't care about some dumb prince and his stupid wife.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 times South Park said what we were all thinking.
This is a real app? It'll completely change your life, bro.
For this list, we'll be looking at moments where the show read our minds. What South Park moment spoke directly to you? Let us know in the comments. Number 20. People change. In You're Getting Old, Stan develops a psychological condition where everything around him looks like literal crap. From TV shows to songs on the radio. Movie trailers for new Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey movies look particularly vulgar, as their movies are a far cry from their high point in the 1990s. The older we get, Stan's condition becomes more relatable as we look at the quality of movies, songs, and shows being put out right now compared to what it was when we were younger. And sometimes, things we used to enjoy when we were younger simply become no longer enjoyable as we get older. Kyle and Cartman might not understand what Stan is going through, but we do.
Kyle? Dude, you've changed. I haven't changed. The world has. Don't you see it? No!
Number 19. Harley riders are obnoxious.
This is exactly what I needed. Not those guys again!
Bikers, particularly those who ride Harley-Davidson motorcycles, are known more for rebelling against social norms than they are for their courtesy. When they pass the rest of us in traffic, they are unreasonably loud. The episode where they are featured illustrates how Harley riders come off whenever they ride by, and Cartman perfectly sums up how desperate they look when he tells them off.
Everyone realizes that people who are so needy for attention they need to dress up and be as loud as possible are you guys and 16-year-old girls.
While we don't condone the slur that is used against the Harley riders in this episode, we do share at the show's annoyance at such people in real life. Number 18. John Edward is full of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Edward.
John Edward is the former host of a TV show on Sci-Fi where he would claim the ability to have contact with the departed in the afterlife. As a medium, he would supposedly bring members of the audience in touch with their loved ones. While most of us are skeptical that Edward has that ability, or anyone for that matter, South Park called out the TV personality.
Maybe it is for real.
Right, but it's not. It's a trick you do, and I need you to just let my friend Kyle know that so he can go on with his life.
The episode accused Edward of irresponsibly taking advantage of people's desperation. And while the special honor the episode bestows on Edward is harsh, it is undoubtedly fitting.
Here he is, the biggest douche of the universe.
Number 17. The 2008 recession. Financial institutions aren't as smart as they appear to be. To say that times were tough during the 2008 recession is an understatement, and this South Park episode captured the frustration many people were feeling at the time. There wasn't a lot of sympathy for the banks, who were largely held responsible for the disaster and were getting bailed out. The episode highlighted the absurdity of the response to the financial crisis. There were several memorable moments in this episode, including the bank employee who repeatedly said,
And it's gone.
and the revelation of how it was decided who got bailed out. Honestly, we wouldn't be surprised if that really was how the US Treasury secretly decided on bailouts.
Bailout. The most prudent move is a bailout. Bail out the insurance company.
Number 16. PETA is a terrible organization.
This is my wife, Janice. The outside world looks down on a man marrying a llama, but our love knows no boundaries.
Most of us like animals and don't want to see harm come to them, unless we want to eat them. However, we roll our eyes and get annoyed whenever we see PETA pull a stunt or make a controversial comment on a sensitive topic. In Season 8, the creators paint PETA as a group of extremist maniacs that are more interested in causing trouble than they are protecting animals.
Get out of here, PETA! We're changing the mascot already!
We speak for those who cannot speak for themselves!
Go on, get out of here! Get out!
South Park recognizes that when it comes to any issue, most of us lie somewhere in the middle rather than one side of the extreme. Number 15. Scientologists only want your money. Season 9's Trapped in the Closet is a devastating and epic takedown of Scientology. In the episode, Stan is told by church officials that he is the reincarnation of L. Ron Hubbard, their religion's founder.
There he is!
Thank you for returning. It's wonderful.
But when he tries to reform the church, he's shut down because his suggestions would get in the way of making profit.
But you said that there were...
What's better than telling people a stupid story and having them believe you? Having them pay you for it, stupid!
And let's not forget the now famous scene recounting the origins of Scientology, which included a disclaimer because they know how insane it all sounds to the rest of us. Needless to say, after this episode aired, the Church of Scientology wasn't pleased. Number 14. NCAA exploits its players. Back then, a common complaint in college sports is that the NCAA doesn't pay the student athletes that play for them, despite the organization making billions of dollars from their hard work. Weighing in on the topic, South Park compares this allegedly unfair treatment to slavery in this episode.
We made $1,000 in 11 days.
In an unforgettable scene, Cartman dresses up like a slave owner when talking to an official from the University of Colorado. The depiction is downright cathartic, given how seriously the NCAA takes itself and how unwilling they are to admit how unfairly they treat college players.
Student athletes. Oh, that is brilliant, sir.
Number 13. Harry and Meghan don't really want privacy.
Hey, you! Hey! What are you looking at? You ever heard of privacy?
The ex-royal couple have received a lot of attention for their fallout with the royal family and their efforts to build a life outside the institution.
We are here because privacy is a basic human right. How many more princes and his wives have to live in this nightmare?
While Harry and Meghan claim that they want privacy for this new chapter of their lives, their actions, including Prince Harry writing a tell-all book, suggest the opposite.
So let me start with you, Sam. You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Where?
The worldwide privacy tour episode skewers the couple, ridiculing their hypocrisy and aligning the show's message with what viewers and everyone in the world suspects. Number 12. Cable companies. With streaming offering a more convenient, cheaper, and all-around superior alternative, more and more TV viewers are cutting cable.
I love you.
What?
I love you so much, Dad. Please, can we get Disney Plus?
It'd be one thing if cable companies upped their game and grew with the times. Instead, loyal customers are rewarded with slow service and workers who show up whenever they feel like it. Anyone who's ever been given a 5-hour service window will identify with the frustration that this episode captures to a T.
Well, finally, the cable company gave us a window of noon to 5 for you to show up. It's 5:15. We're only 15 minutes late.
The episode also finds timely commentary in the launch of Disney Plus and how enamored audiences were with The Mandalorian. The ultimate irony is that South Park dominated basic cable ratings for years. With the rise of Hulu, HBO Max, and Paramount Plus, though, even South Park knows that cable is a dinosaur.
Making little niche programs for everybody. That's what you want? Yeah, I think I do.
Number 11. Political correctness has gone too far. Over the last decade, there's been an aggressive push, particularly on social media, to speak out on political correctness and social justice. While many of these people have good intentions, a lot of people who espouse these views often come off as unhinged lunatics.
I'm telling you all, this is done. Like it or not, PC is back and it's bigger than ever. Woo, 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 you hear that?
To visually illustrate this trend in season 19, South Park brought in PC Principal, a socially aware and justice-minded school administrator who's so committed to his political beliefs, he will violently confront his critics if necessary. Anyone who has lived in fear of being jumped by the Twitter mob over a microaggression can appreciate this satirization. Number 10. User agreements. With iPhones and iPads becoming part of everyday life, we've all signed a user agreement at some point. How many of you actually read a user agreement, though?
When you downloaded the last iTunes update, a window on your screen popped up and asked you if you agreed to our terms and conditions. You clicked agree. All right, let's get him to the water tank.
Long, confusing, and written in the tiniest font possible, most of us would rather sign and accept any consequences rather than be inconvenienced. South Park imagines the worst-case scenario where failing to read the terms and conditions lands Kyle in the middle of a human centipede.
What are you going to do to us?
Everything that you agreed to in the iTunes conditions.
While we're pretty sure that's never happened in real life, the episode does reflect how casual people are about signing legal contracts without even reading them. It's also a spot-on depiction of Apple's marketing, convincing consumers that their products are the best and cheaper alternatives are for losers.
No, I don't want to join Apple. I like my PC.
Number 9. The media's treatment of Britney Spears. In the late 2000s, Britney Spears was an easy target for comedy, and a lot of people took the low-hanging fruit.
We interrupt this debate for an emergency news bulletin. It's Britney Watch.
South Park wasn't an exception, but the writers took a unique approach. They put the mirror up to the audience and said what most of us knew deep down. Maybe we should stop obsessing over this struggling celebrity and, get a life. It was unpopular for people to say, leave Britney alone, hence why many kept quiet.
Hey, hang on, fellas. Don't you think Britney's been through enough? I mean, maybe it's finally time for us all to just leave her alone.
During Spears' darkest hour, though, South Park served as an unlikely moral compass. Various journalists, comedians, and members of the general public continued to ignore that little voice inside. With the recent reevaluation of how Spears was treated, however, this episode has only gotten more identifiable.
It's all of America, Kyle. We're all a part of this together.
You know about all this?
Number 8. That Avatar looks like Dances with Wolves. Nowadays, it's practically a cliche to joke that Avatar is a ripoff of Dances with Wolves, and Pocahontas, and Ferngully, and a dozen other movies. A month before Avatar even hit theaters, South Park beat everyone to the punchline.
No, you must leave the noble Smurfs alone. Who's behind all this?
Well, maybe not everyone. Even after the first trailer for Avatar was released, a lot of people noticed similarities to Kevin Costner's 1990 Best Picture winner. They also noticed that the characters looked like Smurfs, albeit taller and more alluring. South Park was still one of the first mainstream properties to call out James Cameron for taking a familiar story and calling it something else.
Luckily, with the money I made selling the movie rights to my book, I'll be okay.
You sold the movie rights to who?
James Cameron.
It's too bad Cartman didn't secure the film rights, because Avatar is still the highest grossing movie of all time.
Dances with Smurfs was my idea! My idea!
Number 7. Dependence on the internet. For eons, humanity survived without the internet. Now that we've gotten a taste of it, society would likely descend into anarchy without the web.
Everyone just calm down! Calm down, all right? It's going to be okay. We just can't panic!
This episode accurately depicts the panic and uncertainty we all feel when the Wi-Fi is down. Unfortunately, it isn't just Stan's house without a connection. It's a technical issue that reaches far beyond South Park.
Look, if you do find internet, let us know, will ya? How? You won't have internet.
We all rely on the internet for work, entertainment, communication, and some other things that are better left behind closed doors. The episode speaks to our fear that one day it could all be gone. Thankfully, there's a simple solution in this case. Nothing's more revealing than seeing a green light on our router, and Randy's closing remarks about overlogging on really hit home.
But if we don't treat the internet with the respect that it deserves, it could one day be gone forever.
Number 6. The Writer's Strike. From November 2007 to February 2008, the Writers Guild of America strike brought the industry to a halt.
Nobody takes us Canadians seriously.
It's like the world doesn't respect Canada at all, eh?
Although Trey Parker and Matt Stone aren't part of the union, the strike commenced and ended around the same time South Park was on its break. When South Park returned, Parker and Stone didn't hesitate to say what most of their writer friends were thinking. The strike wasn't the best idea.
Well, we didn't get everything that we wanted, but we negotiated hard and we got these coupons to Bennigan's.
While the strike was intended to increase the funding that writers deserve, it reportedly lost anywhere between millions and billions. Parker described the episode as a docudrama, exploring how many writers regretted the strike and attempted to save face by the end. Few WGA members would admit this, but South Park wasn't afraid to speak out.
No matter what happens, I will never call off this strike, even if it means we all die.
Number 5. ChatGPT enables cheating. AI chatbots such as ChatGPT have been blowing people's minds over their capabilities, and they seem to be able to write just about any commands you give them. While there's hope that such technology can be used to take us to new heights, most of us have been concerned about downsides that come with this new intelligence. In Deep Learning, the students in Garrison use this technology to get out of doing their work, as the students write their essays with the software, and Garrison grades those essays with it.
Well, that's crazy. Who would do that?
The episode recognizes how easy it would be to pass off work generated as our own.
Dude, how did you pull all that off? ChatGPT, dude.
Number 4. Social media. Facebook was arguably at its most dominant in 2010, and South Park did a commendable job at portraying the different viewpoints on it.
So I'm not your friend then?
Dad, you are my friend.
But you just don't want to add me as a friend.
For Kyle, it's a gateway to friendship, and if he doesn't have any friends on social media, he has none in the real world. Stan could care less about Facebook, but he's reluctantly forced to participate. It isn't long until Facebook starts affecting Stan's real-life relationships as others obsess over his online activity, or lack thereof.
Stan, Grandma said she poked you and you haven't sent a poke back.
Dad, I didn't even want to do
Stan, poke your grandma!
Many of us realize that the number of Facebook friends you have isn't an accurate measure of how complete your life is. Once Facebook has you, though, it's hard to break free. On top of that, we all knew somebody who took Farmville way too seriously.
I really need a friend right now. Okay, dude, I'm here for you. Okay, so then get on Facebook and fertilize my crops?
Number 3. Censorship. South Park has always been a controversial show, but people sometimes forget just how up in arms parents and censors were during the early years.
Young man, you are not to watch that show anymore. It's immature toilet humor.
Ironically, having Kenny die in every episode wasn't seen as that big a deal, but spreading foul language on the airwaves would be the downfall of civilization. As the parents of South Park protest the crude humor on TV, they ignore their children as death literally comes to town.
What is it, Stanley Hahn? Did you break something?
Mom, Death is here, and he's trying to take us all away with him.
While the South Park movie would expand upon these themes, this was the first episode to say what fans of the show knew. TV isn't the problem. The problem is that parents view TV as a babysitter when they should be taking the time to educate, nurture, and monitor their children.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If there are any questions, you may direct them to that brick wall over there.
Number 2. Political candidates. Every 4 years, Republicans and Democrats act as if their presidential candidate is going to fix everything.
You don't see the point. Oh, you young people just make me sick.
Stanley, do you know how many people died so you could have the right to vote?
While some political leaders have changed the world for the better, our options are usually limited to what South Park describes as a giant douche or a turd sandwich. As such, Stan simply doesn't care about the outcome.
I'm not going to be persuaded into voting, and I'm not going to be threatened into voting if I don't feel comfortable with it.
When Stan refuses to vote, he's shamed and exiled until he finally relents. Most people won't admit that both sides of the political spectrum are flawed and actually share a fair deal in common. This episode unearths the unspoken truth that we struggle to accept. Whoever wins, we all lose to an extent. Voting matters, but when these are our options, should we really be this hostile towards each other?
Kenny, we have got to make Stan understand the importance of voting, because he'll definitely vote for our guy.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Trump wins. Just when you thought the political world couldn't get more topsy-turvy, Garrison was elected president, mirroring Donald Trump's ascension to the White House.
The people have spoken. Just as J.J. Abrams did with Star Wars, I will make this country great again.
Even the South Park creators were expecting a Hillary Clinton victory, forcing them to make numerous changes at the 11th hour. The episode encapsulates the confusion, disbelief, and anger many experienced when they realized who the 45th US president was going to be.
Do you have any idea what you've done to our country?
Yeah.
Unlike their past election shows, this episode appropriately doesn't wrap everything up in a tidy package. Instead, it leaves us with 3 options. Drink the Kool-Aid, try escaping to Mars, or buckle in for what's bound to be an unpredictable presidency. And for the next 4 years, South Park continued to say what we were all thinking.
It sucks, Dad! This country's gonna suck for 4 years!
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.